There is a version of me living in Lisbon right now. I really believe that. 10 years ago, I had a job offer there. A small company, a tiny apartment near the river. A plane ticket I could have bought with money I already had saved.
Wait, Jack, I never knew this about you.
I know, I do not talk about it much. I had the offer letter open on my laptop for 3 days. 3 days, Rose. I read it so many times I could recite parts of it from memory.
So what happened? Why didn't you go?
Honestly, fear, mostly. And my mom crying a little when I told her I was thinking about it. And a relationship that I thought mattered more than it turned out to matter. I said no. I stayed. And I built a good life here, a life I actually love. But every once in a while, late at night, I think about that other Jack, the one who said yes.
Oh, Jack, that is such a specific, tender kind of thought. I have my own version of this, actually. I almost studied art instead of what I studied. I got into a small art program in another city, and everyone told me it was not practical, so I chose the safer path.
Do you ever wonder about that other Rose, the painter one?
All the time. Sometimes I see a beautiful painting somewhere, and I feel this strange little ache, like I am looking at a life that almost belonged to me.
That is exactly it, that ache. I think almost everyone has a version of this story. Some road they didn't take, some yes that became a no.
And I think most people never actually talk about it out loud. In their own language, sure, maybe with a close friend late at night. But in English, that feels like a completely different challenge.
It really is, because this is not simple vocabulary. This is soft, emotional, reflective English. The kind you need when someone asks you something real and you actually want to answer honestly.
Which is exactly what we are doing today.
Welcome to Living English Podcast, everyone. I'm Jack.
And I'm Rose. And today's topic is one of our favorites so far, if I'm honest. We are talking about the life you almost lived.
The other path, the other version of you, the what if.
This is such a human topic. Every single listener has one of these stories somewhere inside them, whether it's a job they turned down, a person they didn't stay with, a country they didn't move to, or even something small like a hobby they gave up.
And by the end of this episode, you will be able to tell that story yourself, in English, comfortably. Not just the facts of what happened, but the feeling behind it too, which is honestly the harder part.
You'll know how to open up a conversation like this naturally, how to ask someone a gentle, curious question about their own almost life, how to keep the conversation flowing with real reactions, and how to close it in a warm, thoughtful way.
Before we dive in, if this kind of honest, reflective English conversation is something you enjoy, consider joining our little community here by subscribing. It genuinely helps more people find these episodes, and it helps us keep making them.
Okay, let's talk about why this particular topic can feel tricky, even for people who speak pretty good English already.
It's tricky because it's emotional, and emotional English is different from everyday English. Talking about your almost life needs softer language, hypothetical language, phrases like, I might have, I could have, I sometimes wonder, what if I had?
Exactly. It's not wrong English if you skip these phrases, but it sounds flatter, less personal. Today, we're going to give you the real phrases native speakers actually use when they open up about this kind of thing.
So don't worry if this topic feels a little hard to talk about right now, in any language. That's completely normal. We're going to make it feel natural by the end.
Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's actually have this conversation the way two friends would have it over coffee. Rose, imagine we just sat down and somehow the topic naturally comes up.
Okay, I love this. Let's do it. So, Jack, random question. Do you ever think about the life you almost lived? Like a completely different path you didn't take?
Oh, funny you ask. Actually, yes, all the time. There's this one thing that still crosses my mind more than I'd like to admit.
Ooh, now you have to tell me.
Okay. So years ago, I had a real chance to move abroad for work. I turned it down at the last minute.
Wait, seriously? What stopped you?
Honestly, fear mostly, and some family stuff too. I keep wondering what my life would look like now if I had said yes.
That is such a big what if. Do you regret it, or is it more just curiosity?
That's a good question. I don't think it's full regret. It's more like a soft curiosity. I built a good life here, so I don't wish I could undo it exactly. I just sometimes daydream about the other version.
I get that completely. For me, it's an art program I almost joined. I think about it, especially when I see something beautiful, like a painting or a mural.
Do you think you would have been happy if you'd chosen that path instead?
Honestly, maybe, maybe not. That's the strange thing about these thoughts. You can never really know. It's not about wanting a different life necessarily. It's more like being curious about a version of yourself that never got the chance to exist.
That's such a lovely way to put it. A version of yourself that never got the chance to exist.
See, this is why I think this topic is so worth talking about. It brings out something really real in people.
Let's keep going with this because I want to show listeners how naturally this kind of conversation can develop with just one or two good questions.
Totally. So, Jack, here's a follow-up. If you could go back and make that choice again, right now, knowing everything you know today, would you do it differently?
Wow, tough question. Honestly, I think I might actually make the same choice again, just for different reasons. Back then, I said no out of fear. Now, if I said no, it would be because I genuinely love the life I've built.
Oh, I really like that distinction. Same decision, different reason.
Exactly. What about you, though? Would you go back and pick the art program instead?
I don't think so, actually. I think I'd feel torn either way. But talking about it like this helps me understand myself a little better, if that makes sense.
It totally makes sense. I think that's actually the real value of this kind of conversation. It's not really about changing the past.
Right. It's more about understanding who you are now based on the choices behind you.
Beautifully said. Okay, so here's something I'm curious about with you specifically. Do you ever talk to your art school friends now, the ones who did go that route?
A couple of them, yes. And honestly, some of them love their lives, and some of them tell me they envy the stability I have. It's funny, everyone kind of wonders about everyone else's path.
That's such a human thing. The grass always looks a little greener from the road you didn't walk.
That's such a good way to say it, Jack. Can we save that line for the learning guide?
Ha, deal. Let's actually pause the conversation here for a second, because we've used some really useful phrases already, and I want to break them down for everyone listening.
Perfect timing. Let's get into today's key phrases.
All right, learning guide time. Let's start with our very first phrase, which was actually the seed of this whole conversation. The life I almost lived.
This means the path or the future you didn't choose, the version of your life that could have happened but didn't.
Here's an example. Sometimes I think about the life I almost lived if I had stayed in that city.
You can picture it like a door that almost opened, but you walked past it instead. Say it with me, everyone. The life I almost lived.
Beautiful. Next phrase, I could have, used for a past possibility that didn't happen.
For example, I could have taken that job, but I stayed home instead.
Think of it like a road sign pointing toward a path you simply never walked down. Say it with me, everyone. I could have.
Next up, what if, used to open up a reflective, hypothetical thought.
Example, what if I had said yes back then?
It's such a small phrase, but it carries so much emotional weight in English. Say it with me, everyone. What if?
Fourth phrase, torn, meaning stuck between two choices, unable to decide which one you truly want.
Example, I still feel torn about whether I made the right decision.
Picture yourself literally being pulled in two directions at once, like a rope being tugged from both ends. Say it with me, everyone. Torn.
Fifth one, a road not taken. A classic, gentle way to talk about a choice you didn't make.
Example, that job overseas was a road not taken for me.
Say it with me, everyone. A road not taken.
Let's continue with a few more phrases from our conversation. Number 6, envy, meaning a small, honest jealousy towards someone else's life or choice.
For example, I sometimes envy friends who took the path I didn't.
It's a soft word, not harsh like hatred, more like a quiet longing. Say it with me, everyone. Envy.
Number 7, the grass is greener. A very common idiom, meaning other people's lives or choices often look better from the outside, even if they're not actually better.
Example, I know the grass is greener on the other side, but I try to appreciate my own path.
Picture two fields side by side. From far away, the other field always looks a little brighter, even though up close it has its own problems too. Say it with me, everyone. The grass is greener.
Number 8, in hindsight, meaning looking back at something now with the understanding you have today.
For example, in hindsight, I think I made the right choice, even if it was scary at the time.
Say it with me, everyone. In hindsight.
And our final phrase for today, number 9, come to peace with something, meaning to finally feel calm and accepting about a decision, even if it was hard.
For example, I've come to peace with the path I chose, even though I still wonder sometimes.
This one is such a lovely phrase to end on, honestly. It's not about forgetting the other path. It's about feeling settled with the one you're actually walking.
Say it with me, everyone. Come to peace with something.
9 great phrases, all pulled straight from a completely real, natural conversation. Let's talk about how to actually use these smoothly in your own conversations now.
Okay, tips and tricks time. Let's talk about how to actually open this topic with someone in real life, in English, without it feeling awkward or too heavy.
This is such a good question because this topic can feel a little intense if you just drop it into a conversation suddenly.
Right, so tip number 1, ease into it with a soft, curious opener, not a heavy, dramatic one. Something like, random question, but do you ever think about a different path your life could have taken?
I love that phrase, random question, but it signals to the other person, hey, this might be a little personal, but it's okay. We're just being curious and honest together.
Exactly. Tip number 2, use a small personal example first. People open up so much more easily when you share something real about yourself before asking them something personal.
That's exactly what we did earlier, right? I shared my art program story before asking Jack anything deeper.
Right, and it makes the whole conversation feel like a real exchange, not an interview.
Tip number 3, and I think this one is really important. Always leave room for I don't know as a real, respected answer.
Say more about that, Rose.
Well, sometimes people genuinely haven't thought deeply about their almost life, or it's a little painful for them. So a good phrase to keep the conversation gentle is, no pressure at all, just curious. Or, you don't have to answer if it feels like too much.
That's such an important native speaker habit, honestly. Good conversation about deep topics always includes an easy exit, so the other person never feels trapped.
And finally, tip number 4. When someone shares their almost life story with you, react with warmth before you react with questions. A simple, wow, that's such a big what if goes a long way before you start asking follow-up questions.
Great tips. Now let's put all of this into practice together. All right, it's your turn now, listener. Let's do a short guided practice role play. And this time, imagine you are actually one of the 2 speakers.
We'll go slowly, and we'll use the phrases we just learned so you can hear them again in a fresh, natural context.
Okay, here we go. Rose, you start us off this time.
Sure. So, random question, but do you ever think about the life you almost lived?
Actually, yes. There's a road not taken that still crosses my mind sometimes.
Ooh, tell me more. What was it?
I could have moved to a different country for a job years ago. I said no at the time.
Do you feel torn about that decision now, or have you come to peace with it?
Honestly, mostly peace, with just a little curiosity left over. In hindsight, I think it was the right choice for me, but I still wonder, what if?
That makes so much sense. I think everyone has a version of that story somewhere.
Do you have one too?
I do, actually. Sometimes I envy people who took bigger risks than I did. But like you said, the grass is greener thing goes both ways, honestly.
That's such a wise way to look at it.
See how naturally that flowed, everyone? Start with a gentle, curious question. Share something honest. Ask a warm follow-up, and let the conversation breathe.
Try pausing this episode right now and saying a few of these lines out loud yourself. Your mouth needs the practice just as much as your brain does.
Even better, try answering the very first question out loud, in your own words. Do you ever think about the life you almost lived?
Let's do one more round of this conversation, but this time a little deeper, because I want to show you how to keep a conversation like this going even further past the first exchange.
I love that idea. Okay, so Jack, here's a deeper follow-up. When you think about that other path, the one abroad, does it feel more like a loss or more like a lesson?
Honestly, that's a great question. I think it's shifted over time. Right after I said no, it felt like a loss. These days, it feels much more like a lesson.
What kind of lesson, if you don't mind me asking?
That fear can disguise itself as practicality really easily. I told myself I was being responsible back then, but really, underneath it, I was scared.
Wow, that's such an honest thing to admit.
What about your art path? Does it feel more like a loss or a lesson to you now?
Definitely a lesson too. It taught me that safety and passion don't always have to be opposites. I still paint sometimes now, just for myself, not as a career.
Oh, I love that. So the almost life didn't fully disappear. It just found a smaller, quieter place inside your actual life.
Exactly, Jack. That's such a good way to put it. Honestly, I think that's true for a lot of people's almost lives. They don't vanish completely. They just shrink down into a hobby or a daydream or a little someday thought.
That's such a comforting way to think about it, actually. Nothing is fully lost, it's just living in a different, smaller shape now.
This is exactly the kind of depth we want you to be able to reach in your own English conversations too, listener.
Let's talk about how to close a conversation like this warmly, because ending a deep talk well is honestly just as important as starting it well.
Totally agree. If you end too abruptly, the whole conversation can feel a little unfinished or even a bit sad.
So here's how we'd naturally wrap this up. Rose, this really has been such a lovely conversation. Thank you for sharing that with me.
Of course, Jack. Honestly, it feels good to say some of this out loud for once.
I think we should do this again sometime. Maybe talk about other almost versions of ourselves.
I'd really like that. And hey, for what it's worth, I think the Jack who stayed turned out pretty great.
Thank you, Rose. That actually means a lot.
See that closing pattern, everyone? A genuine thank you, a small warm compliment or reflection, and an open door for future conversation. That's a lovely, natural way to end a deep talk in English.
You could also close with something simple like, I'm really glad we talked about this, or this gave me a lot to think about. Thank you for asking.
Both of those work beautifully. The key is warmth at the end, not just information.
Exactly. Deep topics like this one deserve a soft landing, not a sudden stop.
All right, let's do a quick recap now, before we get to today's question of the day.
Okay, quick recap time. Today, we talked about the life you almost lived, the roads not taken, the almost versions of ourselves that we sometimes wonder about.
We practice starting this kind of conversation gently with phrases like random question but and sharing something honest about yourself first.
We practiced keeping it going with warm, curious follow-up questions. Things like, does it feel more like a loss or more like a lesson? Or do you ever wonder about that other version of yourself?
And we practice closing it warmly with a genuine thank you and an open door for future conversation.
Let's remember our 9 key phrases together one more time. The life I almost lived. I could have. What if? Torn. A road not taken.
Envy, the grass is greener, in hindsight, and come to peace with something.
9 really useful, really human phrases, all built directly around today's topic.
If you practice using even just 3 or 4 of these naturally, your conversations about this kind of topic are going to sound so much more fluent and so much more like you.
Because honestly, this topic is not really about grammar. It's about being able to say something true and have it land softly in another language.
Beautifully said, Jack. Okay, now let's get to today's question of the day.
All right, here's today's question of the day, and we would genuinely love for you to answer this one in the comments.
Is there a life you almost lived? A road not taken that still crosses your mind sometimes?
It doesn't have to be dramatic. It could be a job, a place, a relationship, a hobby, even a version of your personality you almost became.
And please, don't feel shy about sharing it, even if your English isn't perfect yet. Try using one of today's phrases, even just I could have, or in hindsight.
We read these comments together, and honestly, they mean a lot to us. There's something really special about a community of learners being this open with each other.
And if you read someone else's comment and it reminds you of your own story, tell them. That's exactly how real conversations start, in any language.
We'll be right here reading and replying, so don't be shy.
Before we close out today, I just want to say, if this episode felt a little emotional for you, that's completely okay. This is one of those topics that touches something real in almost everyone.
It really is, and I think that's actually what makes it such a powerful topic to practice English with, because you're not just learning words, you're learning to express something true about yourself.
Exactly. And every single time you do that in a new language, you're not just practicing English, you're becoming a slightly braver version of yourself.
I love that. Okay, so remember, you don't need every phrase perfect today. Even using 1 or 2 of these naturally in a real conversation this week would be such a big win.
Try it with a friend. Try it with your reflection in the mirror. Try it right now, out loud, right after this episode ends.
You are doing so much better than you think you are, honestly. Every episode you finish, every phrase you repeat out loud, it's all adding up.
We're really proud of you for showing up today and for being willing to think about something this personal in a language that isn't even your first one. That takes real courage.
So here's our closing thought for today. Maybe the life you almost lived was never really about the other path at all.
Maybe it was always just a quiet reminder to keep choosing, gently and honestly, the life you're actually living right now.
Thank you so much for spending this time with us today.
We'll see you in the next episode. Until then, keep talking, keep practicing, and keep being wonderfully, bravely yourself.